no rules and regulations in employment. They don't even have an oath of office. So how can they be who they are and say what they're saying and advertise to the people? Well, only people that file false documents through adverb verb can file documents because they say nothing. Therefore, they can't be held to any liability. And you can never win a case if you file it in adverb verb. So therefore, it's just a money machine to collect your filing fees, court costs, attorney fees. Everybody gets rich except the public who is harvested because they can't read and write. If you can't read and write, you can't make a grievance. See, so it's kind of nonsense all the way around.
But, we are aware of this problem and the people simply being bilked to facilitate falsely enriching, unduly enriching. But what is your solution?
What's the solution? The solution is to teach people how the correct parsing, syntax, grammar, so that they don't make these mistakes. We don't want people to become, to make these mistakes and cause people to fall.
Understand a little bit more of what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you have a solution?
He's trying to explain
You
it.
need to start back over on your statement, Pat.
Go ahead, David. Pat asking about a solution.
The solution is our English teachers from grades 1 all the way through college and universities need to teach parsing, syntax, grammar to students so that they can start making the changes. And it's that all adults who have been out of school and who are involved with contracts or in the world of contracts learn to read and write and do their, start studying parsing, syntax, grammar. There should be TV shows put up on the internet that are free to the open source to the public. You can log onto my website and get this information to teach the entire population in all 5,000 languages how to communicate with parsing, syntax, grammar. As long as people keep playing this fiction game for fiction language, we're not going to get anywhere with anybody. It's just going to be a vicious circle. And that's my campaign, is to teach people how to communicate in the proper parsing, syntax, grammar, how to teach them how to use Nikola Tesla coil technology so we can get off all the carbon and pollution of planet Earth.
Well,
and that'll straighten out the money, straighten out the contract, straighten out the energy, the pollution.
yes.
It's a whole new culture that needs to be.
Yeah, I agree.
That needs to be, because people, as long as they can't read and write, are going to continue to be harvested.
Well, maybe we should start on what your thesis or premise is on energy and how the country could move things around, or what you'd want or would like to see the country move around to get us in a better position.
Yeah, we need to improve our positioning so we get better, get better communication.
How should that be done?
The people who are responsible for communication are your TV and your radio, newspaper, magazine. Of course, the internet is open source. But then every time we wind up getting on the internet, they keep shutting down our signal. And
That's for sure.
Judges
So,
and attorneys own the newspapers and magazines and won't allow anything to be published. So they're going to keep the people dumb, keep the people isolated, so that they can't protect themselves.
so you're saying greater accountability on each and every one who speaks out would be advantageous. Now, getting back to the energy.
Accountability is 100% of our problem, and we need people to be accountable. Anybody that's going to become anyone that's going to take a position of authority has to pass the test that they have the capacity to be responsible to communication skills.
Yes, they have a fiduciary, capacity, then they should facilitate the necessary, or what is necessary. Now, getting back to the energy that you brought up, what do you think of basically the development and modification so that you can put in a conversion unit in vehicles. It's coming supposedly Wednesday. It's actually already out, but it's the prototype is coming out. How do you feel the best way to keep the people involved with this safe enough and bring it out publicly enough, particularly when they keep shutting down our access to communication so heavily? As of just a few minutes before this program is being broadcast or recorded, my entire internet has been shut down for days, and this is what we're up against. So how do you think that we can protect each other to facilitate bringing out the energy processes? We've had it for the last 100 years, so obviously we have it.
What is this, a hydroxy, Pat?
Facilitating using it.
Is this like a hydroxy Brown's gas water technology? What
Yeah,
is it?
HHO.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's just the... go on the internet, YouTube. It's supposed to be a big announcement, particularly when by
Right.
Wednesday they're supposed to have it out.
Wait.
Publicly available.
Pat, go ahead, Judge. Go ahead, David.
Okay, I said cold fusion is what you're referring to.
Right.
No, that's actually another one. But yes, that's also.
And then use that to run the generator. And the pollution that comes out of, or the exhaust is no more than H2O, which gets cooled back down as to water.
Right, it's 10 times more hydrated.
Refractured back again.
It was discovered that it's superhydrated water, and actually, superhydrated water heals our bodies, and actually we should be running our entire utility systems on it, including our...
1250 degrees is what's required to fracture water.
Oh, right. But in the meantime, I did want to get off subject here real fast. I'm back on subject. David, I'm sure a lot of our viewers are concerned about their mortgage circumstances. As you mentioned, that the mortgage contract makes them a caretaker.
Trustee, caretaker, and guardian of the property.
Right. Which means that they're owed money from the contract, right? More or less?
Say again,
That actually the banks owe the caretaker, that's the mortgage holder, contract holder, that the banks actually owe them under this caretaker clause.
Yeah, $87,500 a year is what the bank owes the homeowner for being the caretaker of the property.
How much?
That's why people qualify for second mortgages and what inflates the property value of these homes is that caretaker's position. And you know, when one property has 100% a year inflation rate, it's because the prior owners never took responsibility for their caretakers, sold it to the next person, and this thing wound up getting compounded without anybody checks and balances. But when they finally found out about it, each individual then went ahead and did the math on what the property should be worth in the neighborhoods, what they should be worth, and then went ahead and raised the price up to where it was compatible. But then when the banks found out that their people were going to collect on this money, that's when they devalued it, because there's a clause in your mortgage contract that says that in the event that the appraised value of your property falls below the appraised value of your mortgage, the bank automatically owns it. That way they can steal back the property and sell it to the next unsuspecting buyer. And that's how that little game
So,
took place.
if-
I blew the whistle on it when we started prosecuting the bank for fraud and misleading statements. But it was the volition, the condition of thinking on contract that certifies the value of the mortgages.
David,
And
real,
by certifying that the property had value, accumulated value through the volition of the bank who created that value in the first place, that's what allows you to sue for this money.
real quick,
Because it was their volition to make you believe that it was only your ignorance of not being able to read your rights that you entered into the agreement. Every single person that I have approached or has done a lawsuit never read their contract. They talk about their contract, but they never read it. They don't understand it because it says nothing.
well, real fast, David, if they were to get the paperwork together, people watching, they're listening to what you're saying, where would they start to get the paperwork put together to be able to get the maintenance costs that they're owed as a caretaker? How would they go about doing that? Where do they start?
Well, people would have to contact me on a one-to-one basis so I could see exactly where they are, what kind of contracts they signed, and
Okay.
what their volition of thinking was when they did so.
What's your email?
And that,
What would you?
my
What?
email is dwmlawpro@aol.com.
So that's DWMLAW at, and what's the server again? AOL.
AOL.com.
Got it. It's that
on the
simple.
screen, Will. It's on the
Okay,
screen.
good.
dwmlawpro@aol.com.
Okay, good. We do, so they can get back to you. What would be like, for example, okay, they're going to email you. Let's say we heard that we should have been provided a circumstance, and then what would you tell them? I mean, where do they start? Even if they emailed you, and then where do you start? How do you explain that to them? Where do you begin?
Well, I'd like to see what kind of contract they got, how long they've been in the property, what their volition was to enter into a contract in the first place.
Okay. Okay.
Some of these people they've been living in a home, but they don't actually own it. I mean, they bought the house, they put it in trust, the trust owns it. Only they're the ones that are trying to sue for it, the trust owns it. So
Right.
that's misrepresentation.
Right.
So I'm going to know exactly to see who the
Or
new owner
what is-
who the
which
new
trust.
seller is, and then I can work backwards from there.
In 1998, as I was going to mention, I've taken advantage of this opportunity. My money, I had a very large trust. It was being handled by Bank of America here locally and a firm called Kunath, Karen, Rini, and Atkins. I didn't know that this Mr. Michael S. Kunath was a snake, very extreme. The guy should have been arrested for what he was doing and stealing, including using other devious means to control his clients. The man still should go to jail. But anyway, so I couldn't find an attorney.
A person like that, I just syntax whatever he wrote, and we can prosecute him under Title 15, Section 1692E for fraud and misleading statements. Because he signed the paperwork, we have a signed concession, and he's facing 25 years in prison and a $30 million fine.
It's long overdue. But anyway, so I couldn't find an attorney here. At that time, I felt I didn't know I could write my own cases. Eventually, I did. But I went to a law firm out of Houston, Arizona, Bel Air, Texas, named Joe Eisen, I-Z-E-N, and his assistant named Vance Boudreau, which I had no idea, had already spent 8 years in the federal penitentiary for ripping off the Moody Trust. They proceeded, I retained them to come up here. He said he could work pro hoc vice, and then turns around, creates a phony trust with my name on it, this Vance Boudreau, and then this party named Rochelle Perosk here in Seattle, claiming to be an IRS former attorney. I and her two friends, Terry Heston and Bill Schroeder. Terry Heston apparently works for the mob here, stealing cars. These guys are licensed locksmiths. She should have been arrested. This group, like a little mob operation, they went in, broke into my house, forged my signature on all the titles to everything I owned, and transferred them over to this trust with my name on it. I proved it was forgery. I was an extreme target here. Their whole goal was to completely financially destroy me, which they did. And so they proceeded to create this William P. Wilson Enterprise Trust, transferred they were locksmiths, so they were able to go into my house and get everything, my aware that this is what was going on. Came out to my house one day and it didn't belong to me anymore. Literally everything I had owned was stolen. I was an extreme target. Apparently this ties into this Mr. Kunath. Apparently he's tied to the mob as well. And when you're an extreme target like I have been, and then you find out how corrupt the Northwest is anyway, when I went and filed my own cases in Superior Court, Judge Doherty, D-O-E-R-T-Y, not only filed sanctions against me, but dismissed my case that I had to try to file to get my property back after going to 5 attorneys here, which I call them criminals.
But if you filed your case and ad verb, you didn't say anything.
I probably did.
It was only a condition of malice against the other party, even though you're the victim.
Yeah.
You victimize yourself because you didn't use the correct parse syntax grammar.
Well, see, I didn't know any of that. Then I had to file in federal.
Nobody does, even except the judge. The judge knew better.
Right.
He knew that the attorney was licensed to lie, and you weren't.
No,
He rules in favor of the licensed attorney.
Well, these
Every time
attorneys.
they filed a motion to dismiss, the only thing you were in court to do is to dismiss anything you said. Because you never filed a parse syntax grammar document
I
to
did.
prosecute them for fraud.
Okay, I can.
Which would put you in the driver's seat.
Well, I need to talk to you more about that. But in the meantime,
We will.
when you find out that the Bar Association here is nothing but an organized crime syndicate, I had to file again a case in federal district court where Judge Kuhnauer, another crime syndicate judge, dismisses that case. And you're supposed to report federal crimes to a federal judge anyway. So we're finding out that this whole so-called judicial system is nothing but an organized crime syndicate anyway.
Wait. You left the state of California. You left the state of Washington State, and you entered a foreign vessel in dry dock.
Okay.
A foreign vessel under a foreign flag, and because you're on a foreign vessel, you're a foreign agent speaking Babel in adverb verb, writing Babel in adverb verb
Okay.
on a foreign vessel, and so the subjective interpretation of the judge was to vacate your position and not arrest you under Title 46, Chapter 781 Maritime Law of salvage. He could have salvaged you for trespassing because you didn't have a case in court, even though you thought you did. You said nothing about nothing to nobody, and so therefore you were trespassing.
No kidding.
And that's how they harvest the people.
No
Now,
kidding.
after the fact, you want to sit down with me, I'll teach you how to do it the correct way so you not only can win, but then get all restitution that's due you.
I definitely am going to talk to you about that. Go ahead, Keith.
So I would like to go back to your.
Nobody ever tells the public how to do it right. They only just keep talking about adverb verb. They go hire an attorney and make sure the lie is complete.
Right.
So that you absolutely don't say anything. And the lawyer, now that he knows or even suspects that you know who I am or what my technology is, will go in there and he'd fix you at the first volley so that you can't come back and get them. These are the things you have to pay attention to.
I've got a family problem with three brothers of mine who are part of this whole operation that I need to address because my three brothers also are criminal in this. I'll talk to you more about it. But anyway, Pat was also a target where they forged. Pat, right?
Multiple different episodes with mine, so it would have to be a long explanation. Sorry. People.
Yeah, but she's been through it as well.
Well,
Go ahead, Keith.
what I was wanting to find out, I think you pointed it out, on the mortgages, basically the bank has created a trust. So the question that I have, when someone is going to be going into court, is it that when the banks go in there, they're supposed to be representing themselves, and this trust document that's created, the people representing the trust.
If a trust has been created that I did not write, I will absolutely certify you it is 100% fraud.
So when the banks go in there and into a court, and the attorneys or representatives are going in there, they are representing the bank and not the trust. So therefore, from that position, the first motion probably should be, or is it true or not, to dismiss the case because there's nobody to represent the, or I shouldn't probably say represent, to present themselves as being looking after the interests of the trust bank. Did that make sense?
The banks are going to, okay, all judges are bankers and all bankers are judges, so of course the sharks are going to swim together and not eat each other. Professional ethics, it's called.
By the way, real fast, David, I have received emails from viewers who have mentioned that they've also been targeted where their estates were stolen. That's one of the reasons I brought this up. And I did want to bring up the names of these people that had defrauded me. Not that I'm saying everything like it is. That's what they did. And anyway, there's quite a few people that are watching our program that are going through mortgage circumstances right now, including some that have emailed me, quite a few, since you have been on our program. I've gotten more emails than ever, that they have mentioned the theft of their estates, forgery, things like that, which is rampant, which is going on everywhere. What would you recommend for people like that? How would they go about learning more about this so that they can try to get their properties back or save their properties from foreclosure?
Anybody that has had their property already stolen and is out of the house, they can still take their existing mortgage contract when it was signed. There's no statute of limitations for fraud.
Okay.
And go back and sue for $87,400 a year caretaker fee for all the years they were in that property, taking care of it for the bank where they didn't get paid.
That's $87,000 a year. Is that right?
$87,400 a year for every year they were in the property.
No kidding. No kidding.
That's minimum wage times $8,700 a year. After all, don't you guard your property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Is that
365 days a year?
87,000 or 8,700?
8,700 hours.
Okay.
2,700 hours,
Okay.
not dollars.
Don't forget,
Okay.
you get time and a half after 8 hours.
Okay. Well, anyway, I will talk to you more about that. I hope more of our viewers will get back with you on
Sleeping on the
that.
job.
We've got about 4 minutes left. Go ahead, Keith. One last question.
Oh my.
since we're-
You also were wanting to, or we probably should cover, maybe perhaps some topics. We should probably cover topics pertaining to healthcare. Do you have any viewpoints on healthcare?
Well, okay, as far as healthcare goes, you have to understand what it takes to cure a human body of whatever sickness they have. And the healthcare issue would come through taxation as well as the government. The government would have to have enough money. The mortgage foreclosure business of recovery will generate a profit for the government of $100 trillion and a net profit for the homeowner of $200 trillion. This would automatically take care of the healthcare issue because it would generate enough money to protect that. Now we can get in that under another program.
That sounds excellent. And Pat, go ahead. We got about 3-4 minutes. Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, didn't know that we'd come to this. The question, though, I had is, what good is the Constitution, from the perspective that you're coming from, if you consider it totally null and void? Where is its place in the future?
Well, I already wrote the Constitution and it's posted on my internet site for the United Nations that all 250 countries can use. And it covers all the different positions that the original Constitution did, only it does it in now time and in positive, it uses positive words, not negative words. So it had to be completely restructured to be a positive performance contract in now time. And that's the new Constitution. It's 69 paragraphs long.
Hey, Pat.
So
Would
so
you-
basically, for the New World Order form or one world government, is that the issue?
A one world government controlled by a mathematical communication syntax, parsing syntax grammar, will be fair to all 7.2 billion humans on this planet with no translation deviation, no trickery. Therefore, there would be no reason to go to war. People will be able to resolve their differences and know exactly who they are and where they stand, because it will be in now time and the positive law performance.
Go ahead, Pat. Patricia, go ahead.
Oh, I was just listening.
Okay, we're
You
actually
answered my question.
we're pretty much at the end of the program. And Keith, if you've got one last statement to make, and then put your microphone on, Keith, we're going to show a segment of an initiative here in Washington State, being represented by Greg Keller here. Hopefully, we'll have it at the end of the program here for a few moments of his presentation of this. What's the initiative, Keith?
Oh, that's
1122.
yeah. I think that was
1122 here in Washington State on
1128.
stop the funding of the illegal aliens.
1122, right?
Yeah, and then we're going to bring it up. But anyways, David, one last statement to our viewers. Hopefully they'll get back with you. I think you're going to be on some more.
Right. If people are interested in protecting their assets and the amount of work that they've done to build their home equity over the years, and they're responsible individuals, have them give me a call, and we'll work out to get the recovery, get them back on a recovery position.
Okay, so in a sense, when I was making these statements about the judges, I'm wrong because they were right, they understood, and I didn't. So maybe I take back what I mentioned about them. They understood this syntax, which I didn't know what I was doing, obviously, as usual, stumbling around. Not doing.
I wouldn't call this a recovery. I would call it a die-covery. DI means original covery.
Okay.
With original covery, you will be able to fix the wrongs that have been committed.
So in a man's sense, just get my act back together again, understand what I'm doing next time, talk to you some more about it, arranging to put together the proper paperwork, as well as Pat, I hope you're listening, that we go back and try to die cover our properties that they've stolen from us. And I hope you people are listening as well, because some of the people who emailed me mentioned that they had gone through the same loss. I hope they do get back to you as well. dwmlawpro@aol.com. Please email David what happened to you, because I got about 15 emails from viewers that said that they've gone through the same circumstance. So I hope we're going to try and, yeah. David, real fast, I hope you're enjoying Hawaii. Pat, I hope the tornadoes left you.
Right now, I'm going to do a seminar for a group of Hawaiians here in Kona, and I'm going to be doing that for the next 4 hours, much on what we just talked about on the radio.
Okay, and then so we're going to also have you out here in Seattle at the end of May this month for a seminar, which next week when we get you back on, we will bring up where and how that's going to work so people can stop in and attend the seminar. Pat, thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Keith Younghammer. Thank you, Don, for teching, Don Grant. Please watch Don's show, Truth versus News, Thursdays at 5 with Dick Lee and Keith as well, Keith Younghammer. I'm Will P. Wilson and willpwilson@yahoo.com. Email David as well. As I did say, I mentioned a few of the viewers have mentioned they've gone through the same type of theft and fraud. So this is very interesting what we're dealing with. Hopefully you guys spend some time on David's website. And it's dwmlc.com. Thank you, David.
Yeah, and it was I-1120.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you next week, everyone.
All right.
Bye, David. Okay.
Okay, so good afternoon. We're here at the Snohomish County Courthouse on Friday, April 29th with petitioner Martin Ringhofer. Today was heard in the courtroom of Judge Castleberry the petition for asking the King County Superior Court to release non-juror information to Mr. Ringhofer, a citizen who wishes to make sure that the juror process is open and transparent, as well as to make sure our election rolls, our voter rolls are clean. State law permits the Secretary of State to examine the juror rolls to make sure that there are not non-citizens involved in jury selection, also being reflected onto the voter rolls. This is a problem in Washington State. Through our research, we have found 7 of 238 non-citizens registered to vote in Douglas County. This information, juror information, was released by the Douglas County prosecutor in a lawful way. All 39 counties in Washington State need to do the same, including King County, who over the last 2 years has had 9,600 individuals respond to jury summons and being excused from jury duty due to status of non-citizenship. And we'd like to say that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to make sure that the juries do not contain non-citizens. It's a requirement of jury service that jurors be citizens, just as it is a requirement of voter registration that the individuals be American citizens. So we'd like to say today that we're looking forward to Judge Castleberry's ruling on this petition to come on May 10th at 2 p.m. And we hope that he will see that we have good cause in asking for this information, as reflected by the results that we found in the citizens investigation of non-jurors in Douglas County. So
take the word indigenous.